Hey there, beautiful people. How's everyone doing today? Trevor Noah here, ready to talk about something near and dear to all our hearts. Money. Yes, that green stuff or numbers on a screen that we all chase. It's that thing we never seem to have enough of, right? No matter how hard we work, it always feels like it's slipping through our fingers. But seriously, folks, understanding what money really is and how it works is crucial, especially for a continent as ripe with potential as Africa. It's not just about having it, but knowing how to use it wisely. Think of money like that friend who can vouch for you. It's a tool, a promise, a way to get things done. It's a tool, a promise. You do some work, you get this paper, or numbers on a screen these days, and you trade it for things you need or want. Pretty simple, right? Not so fast. You do some work, you get this paper or numbers on a screen these days, and you trade it for things you need or want. Pretty simple, right? Not so fast. There's more to it than meets the eye. You see, many places in Africa are still grappling with outdated ideas about money. They see it as a finite resource, like diamonds or oil. They see it as a finite resource like diamonds or oil. But here's the kicker. Money isn't real in the same way a tree is real. But here's the kicker. Money isn't real in the same way a tree is real. We print it, we create it, and that means we can use it strategically to build a better future. We print it, we create it, and that means we can use it strategically to build a better future. Imagine the possibilities if we harness this power correctly. Now, I'm not saying we should all become Zimbabwe in the early 2000s and print ourselves into oblivion. That's a recipe for disaster, my friends. That's a recipe for disaster, my friends. But a little bit of calculated creativity can go a long way. We need to think outside the box. But a little bit of calculated creativity can go a long way. By innovating and planning strategically, we can turn our financial challenges into opportunities for growth and development. So, let's get creative, let's get smart, and let's make money work for us, not the other way around. Here's the thing about Africa. It's a continent bursting with talent, resources, and untapped potential. We've got the sun, the land, the people, we've got it all. So why are so many African nations struggling economically? One word. For too long, we've been stuck in old ways of thinking about money, chained to systems that don't serve our best interests. We've been taught to be afraid of debt, to hoard our resources, and to rely on foreign aid like it's going out of style. But guess what? There's a new generation rising, a generation ready to break free from the shackles of the past and embrace a bolder, brighter economic future. And that future starts with understanding a little something called the optimum quantity of money. Okay, so optimum quantity of money might sound like a mouthful, but trust me, it's not as complicated as it seems. It's actually a pretty fascinating concept once you get the hang of it. Think of it like this. Your body needs just the right amount of water to function properly. Not too much, not too little, just the perfect amount to keep everything in balance. Too little, and you get dehydrated. Too much, and you're running to the bathroom every 5 seconds. It's all about maintaining that delicate balance. Money is kind of the same way. Just like your body needs the right amount of water, the economy needs the right amount of money to function smoothly. Too little money circulating in an economy, and things grind to a halt. Businesses can't operate, and the entire economic engine slows down. Businesses can't grow, people lose their jobs, and the whole system gets sluggish. It's like trying to run a marathon without enough water. Eventually, you just can't keep going. But too much money, and you get inflation. Prices skyrocket, your hard-earned cash is worth less, and it's a whole other kind of mess. It's like flooding your body with too much water. It just doesn't work. The OQM is all about finding that sweet spot, that Goldilocks zone where there's just enough money in the system to keep things running smoothly without sending prices through the roof. It's a balancing act, but it's crucial. And guess what? It's not some mystical, unknowable number. Economists have developed models and tools to estimate it with a fair degree of accuracy. Economists have ways of figuring it out, and it's time we started paying attention. Understanding the OQM can help us make better financial decisions and create a more stable economy for everyone. Now, some of you might be thinking, Hold on, Trevor. Are you suggesting we just print more money? Isn't that a one-way ticket to economic chaos? The kind of chaos that leads to hyperinflation, where prices skyrocket and money loses its value. And you wouldn't be entirely wrong to ask that. It's a valid concern, and one that has been debated by economists for decades. But here's where things get interesting. There's a new perspective that's shaking up the old ways of thinking. Enter modern monetary theory, or MMT for short. It's a framework that's gaining traction among some economists and policymakers. Don't worry, I'm not going to bore you with a bunch of economic jargon. Instead, let's break it down in simple terms. Just think of MMT as a new way of looking at money, a fresh perspective that challenges traditional economic theories, a way that challenges those old, dusty textbooks that have been around for ages. The basic idea behind MMT is that governments that control their own currency, like many African nations, have more flexibility than we might think. They can't actually run out of money. Why? Because they can always print more. But there's more to it than just printing money, because they can always print more. But it's not that simple. There are checks and balances in place. Now, before you run off and tell your uncle to empty his bank account and invest in ink cartridges, hear me out. MMT isn't about reckless money printing. It's about strategic use of monetary policy. It's about understanding that governments have a powerful tool at their disposal, a tool that can be used wisely, a tool they can use to invest in their people, in education, healthcare, and infrastructure, and build a stronger future. It's about creating a sustainable economy that benefits everyone, not just a select few. Section 5. Print a little, grow a lot? The case for strategic spending. So, if governments can technically print as much money as they want, why aren't we all living in a utopia? Well, remember that thing about inflation? Printing too much money too quickly can lead to some seriously bad outcomes. But here's the key: strategic spending. Imagine if, instead of blowing money on fancy cars and lavish parties, governments invested in things that actually matter, like education and infrastructure. Think about it. Better schools mean a more educated workforce, which means higher productivity, which means more economic growth. It's a win-win. And don't even get me started on infrastructure. Roads, bridges, airports, these are the arteries of a healthy economy. Section 6. Government less is more, sometimes. Now, I know what you're thinking. Trevor, you want the government to spend more money, but they already waste so much. And you know what? You're not wrong. Corruption is a real problem, and we need to hold our leaders accountable for every penny they spend. But here's the thing. Cutting government spending willy-nilly isn't the answer either. Remember that whole too little money in the economy thing we talked about earlier? Yeah, that's not good. The key is to be smart about it. We need to cut the fat, eliminate wasteful spending, and streamline government operations. But we also need to invest in the future, in the things that will make a real difference in the lives of everyday people. Section 7. Education. The gift that keeps on giving. Let's talk about education for a second. If you want to empower a nation, give its people the gift of knowledge. Education is the key that unlocks so many doors. It's the foundation upon which we build a brighter future. Yet, too many African children are denied access to quality education due to poverty, conflict, or simply a lack of resources. Imagine a world where every child, regardless of their background, had the opportunity to reach their full potential. Imagine the innovation, the creativity, the economic growth that would be unleashed. Investing in education is investing in the future, plain and simple. Section 8. Infrastructure. Building a brighter future, brick by brick. Now, let's talk about infrastructure. You can't run a successful business if you can't get your goods to market. You can't attract foreign investment if your roads are riddled with potholes. Infrastructure is the backbone of a strong economy, and it's time we treated it as such. Investing in roads, bridges, airports, and telecommunications will not only create jobs in the short term, but it will also lay the foundation for sustainable economic growth for generations to come. Let's be real, folks. A little bit of concrete can go a long way. Section 9. The future is bright. Africa's economic potential. Listen, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Africa faces real challenges. But here's the thing, I'm incredibly optimistic about the future. Why? Because I see a new generation rising, a generation that is ready to challenge the status quo, a generation that understands that we have the power to create our own destiny. We have the resources, we have the talent, and now we're starting to develop the economic know-how to unlock our true potential. It's not going to be easy, but trust me, my friends, it's going to be worth it. Section 10. Let's get this money. Africa. So, there you have it, my friends. A crash course in money, MMT, and the future of Africa. Don't be afraid to ask questions, to challenge the old ways of thinking, and to demand more from your leaders. The future is ours to create, and it all starts with understanding the power of money. Now let's go out there and get this bread.